Hey, I'm Angela, founder of the Daily Ritual Candle Company and past interviewer and host of the Awakened Goddess Show. Today, I wanted to hop on here and introduce myself, tell you a little bit about myself and why I started Daily Ritual Candle Company. So I am 51 years old. I turned 51 this year. I cannot believe it. I feel better than ever, which is great. And I am committed to really focusing on improving my health and healing my body, healing my mind, and becoming more and more youthful and joyful every single day. And part of that is why I started Daily Ritual Candle Company. All of my life, I've known I was going to be an entrepreneur. Every time I tried to work for someone or get a job, I completely resisted. I would maybe like or enjoy the job for a period of time, and then I would completely get so bored out of my mind. I just wanted, it was like soul sucking. Even when I followed my passion back in the day when I went to college, I went and got my master's degree in counseling psychology, and I was a therapist for people that were severely depressed, suicidal, in an inpatient, or excuse me, day treatment program for a hospital. And even back then, I was feel, feeling very drained, and I was really struggling because I knew part of me and deep inside really wanted to help people and talk about creating your best life. And, this is like this whole um, tagline these days, but really taking the opportunity to live life fully and really do life, right? Live the life that you have. And I was trying to teach law of attraction and manifesting back when I was a therapist, and it just was not working because it was the wrong audience. And so I burned myself out, and I went into home party sales, and I did that very, very well. I did home parties, home pleasure parties, which was fun, and I was a top salesperson in that for 4 years. And then I got the calling again. I felt, I was like, gosh, this is great, but it's superficial. I don't really get to talk to people, and really, I really enjoy like exploring someone's thinking process, what goes on in their mind. And so I ended up starting coaching, doing coaching for people. And then it's interesting because, through my personal journey, we all have our things that we are here to work through and work on and learn about ourselves and kind of conquer, those challenges. And one of my things has always been being visible or being seen, which is interesting because for 4 years I was the host and interviewer for the Awakened Goddess Show. And I loved doing that show. I loved doing the show, but then looking back, I realized that I was hiding my own gifts and talents behind my guests. So I interviewed wonderful guests. I think I did almost 200 episodes. Um, and it was wonderful. And because I was a trained therapist, I really was able to like go to the depths of people's minds and really explore, their gifts and talents. And I was wondering why I was always struggling with making money and being able to, all of the efforts I put out there. I really struggled with selling myself, I guess is what you would say. Um, And this whole thing was around visibility and feeling afraid to put myself out there. So it was interesting thinking back, because part of me really wanted to um, have that, I guess, fame or whatever, the attention, but a deeper part of myself was so afraid of it that I self-sabotaged. And I did things that where I was always focusing on the guest and shining my light on them. So I got burnt out with that because, being the editor and the producer and the talent person, and I mean, all the things, social media, blah, 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 all of those things, I burnt myself out. Uh, and, it makes sense when you're doing something day in, day out for hours and hours, putting your heart and soul into it and not getting compensated for that. It makes sense why I was burnt out. So from there, my mom, Joyce, and we built a wonderful dog sitting business. We ended up um, building it to a six-figure business, which is interesting because before that business, I struggled so much with manifesting money. It was the thing, it was my sticking point, and the thing that I was so challenged by. And it was kind of like one of those things where I was just always striving for it. And I worked really hard. I worked day in, day out, trying to figure out, what's the code? What am I doing why am I not manifesting money? I even got interested in law of attraction and followed Abraham Hicks for a while. And it was interesting because I was just talking with a friend today, and I was sharing how at that moment in time, that was when I first learned about manifesting and law of attraction, right? And I was listening to this information, and I remember thinking back, or looking back, I can distinctly recall having this feeling of like waiting energy. So I was doing the work in terms of aligning my energy, but then thinking back, it was like I was just holding my breath, waiting for the manifestations to happen. And we were just kind of having a laugh about that, how sometimes we try to manifest and we put it out there, but then we don't take the steps to actually manifest it. So that was an interesting time in my life where I really, really struggled. And at the end of towards the end of my show, the Awakened Goddess show, I had been talking about on the show that I really wanted to travel. I had never been to Europe, and I wanted to travel to Europe, and it was like a dream of mine. And one day I received a message from one of my viewers, and she said, the goddess woke me up at 4 o'clock this morning telling me I needed to offer you a place to stay, so you could do your travels through Europe. And, and it was explicit. She said, I was told to offer you my home for 30 days or up to 30 days. And so I, I read this and I was like in disbelief. Um, and I ended up reaching out to her, and I was able to manifest a trip through Europe for 30 days. And I'll talk about this in a future video, but I was able to manifest this trip without having any money out of pocket. And the trip was amazing. I went to England, Glastonbury, Scotland, Paris, Amsterdam. Gosh, where else did I go? Just, it was amazing, right? And that was a major turning point in my life when I learned how to manifest. Up until that time, I really, really struggled. I would go through periods of my life where I'd go out to, I'd be invited to go to places, or I'd be invited to go get coffee or lunch or anything, something like that. And I wouldn't even have the money to go. And I was putting things on credit cards, and my credit cards were piling up, and that's a whole nother story. But it wasn't until that trip that I traveled through Europe that because I didn't have the money until I manifested it every step of the way in that trip, because I did not have a credit card, and it was on a leap of faith. And it was such a teaching. It was such a lesson in understanding how to manifest in your life and manifest exactly what you need, and be able to trust and know that it was going to show up. Now, it was not an experience for the faint of heart, but I can tell you from that point forward that I have not had trouble manifesting money. That brings me to the dog business. So my mom and I, we decided we were going to start this business. And we have been doing the dog business, Jet Set Pet Sitters, since 2018. And it's allowed me to travel and stay in homes and watch dogs, and also we have lots of doggies that come to our home in Damascus. And it was such an interesting contrast between now and what I was experiencing in the past. So moving forward, I was finding that with the dog business, we, have loved doing the dog business and enjoyed with all the dogs. But I was finding that I was losing the ability to take care of myself. It's like having a bunch of toddlers running around. Now, thankfully, right now, I have two doggies here, and they're both taking a nap. So I'm trying to squeeze in this video. But I was really finding that my stress level was just going off the charts. I was not able to sleep well. I was gaining weight. My cortisol levels were up, off the charts. And just, I could tell in my body that I was really going in the wrong direction. And so I had been doing candle spells for some clients in the past when I had done the coaching with clients. I'm kind of like jumping all around. I'm sorry. This is how my mind thinks. Slight ADHD. Anyway, so I had been doing large candle workings for clients, and I loved doing them, but they were so time. It was like a time suck, because what I would do, so if you're not familiar with candle magic or candle workings or candle spells, what we're doing is we're tapping into the energy of fire. Fire, being one of the elements. Fire is something, we're transmuting energy. So we're taking it from one thing to another. And the way I was doing it was I was helping people manifest using the candle intention setting. So I would get a client's intention, what is it they wanted to manifest? What did they want to create in their life? One of the clients that I worked with a lot is a real estate agent in Canada. And we would work on her listings and help her get like top dollar for her properties. And so I would do workings like every week for her, and I would get her intention, and then I would intuitively select the candles. Every color represents a different energy. Um, I would intuitively select herbs and oils that would focus in her intention into this candle that in essence is holding space for a person's intention. And so I would build these beautiful candle workings, and I'll probably post some pictures, but these beautiful candle workings I would have to tend, which means I'm holding space and I'm watching them burn basically the whole time. So we're not burning down the house. um, so they would burn anywhere from just a couple hours, but typically they would burn for 12 up to 12 hours, depending on how elaborate this candle service would be. And afterwards, I would read the wax, and it was really, really cool because I could identify like challenges, blocks, if something was going to happen quickly, if there was going to be, what adjustments might need to be made, all sorts of things. It was really interesting. So anyway, that was really, really successful. However, I found that over time, that it was just very draining. Again, a little bit out of alignment. So having done these elaborate candle workings, I knew how powerful they were. And I was wanting at a few months back, I was feeling called. I have this thing. I have this intuitive guidance system that kind of says, okay, let's shift, or let's do something new, or this is what's wanting to come out. And we all actually have this. It's I just have mine fine-tuned, and I know how to read it for myself. But anyway, that's where the Daily Ritual Candle Company came about, is that I knew how powerful these large candle workings were, and how powerful they were for helping people manifest things in their life. More money for a listing, or manifesting, releasing obstacles and whatnot. So I decided to start this candle company because I wanted people to be able to have candles that they could basically get the same effect for, without me having to create a new candle working every single time for someone. And so I created this candle line because I wanted to basically give you the power to set your own intention, have the intention already built into the candle, and have that strong energy to help you manifest whatever it is that you were or are wanting to manifest. And so putting these candles together, it was a part of me that really was wanting to have that creative side come back out. And I love working with fire because I'm an Aries. And creating these candles was just like the next iteration of my creativity coming back out. So I'm excited to, the candle line is quite new. And I have, I think, 9 different variations of different intentions, depending on what it is that you want to manifest or want to bring or attract into your life. And I'm very excited, and I love the scent of each of these candles. They all are infused with oils. It's a soy candle, and then I have been creating intention oils with botanicals and herbs that I infuse in oil, and I've done that for several years. So they're very potent oils, and so I put that into the candle when I'm when I'm mixing it and blending it and pouring it in. And then I also dress the candle on the top with herbs specific for your intention or the intention of the candle, and crystals that also hold that energy to support your intention. So it's fun. It's a wonderful magical creation, and I'm just really excited. I'm just really excited about it. I also do have these larger, they're like 14-ounce candles that I create for people, specific for you. So say you have an intention and you want, say, like the fierce spirit candle or the money magnet candle. And then, so first, as I'm creating the candle, I take your specific intention and I embed that into the candle working when I'm doing it. So it is a very powerful candle that's holding your specific intention. So I'm excited to have people try these candles, and I know that they're very powerful because I've been, testing them and working with them for a few months now, and the people that have used these candles have really loved them. So anyway, I'm going on and on and on, but yeah, I'm just excited. I would love for you to check them out. If something I'm saying resonates with you, just know that I create these candles with love and intention and a lot of very powerful ingredients. And that's really exciting. So more on like future videos. I didn't intend for this to go so long. Anyway, sending my love, and I hope you have a wonderful day.